Good morning. Wishing all of us an absolutely thankful Tuesday. May it be terrific, may it be wonderful. And with this beautiful hope, let's start the world of artists after we do our Pixit programming. So let's go for it. Yes, 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 we are a winner. How wonderful. Left leg in the front, and you have to run towards your dreams, okay? Get that clear. All right, let's start. Yes, yes, yes. How wonderful. So, just for making your game up, if possible, write down your goals, or maybe a pad, or maybe a blackboard kind of a thing, maybe some kind of a thing, and just keep it in front of your laptops. Because when you're running towards them, you can see them, and nothing like getting energized. Because sometimes you tend to slip out. So maybe putting that up together, maybe putting it in a journal and just opening that page and running and just reading it, it'll add more power to your dreams. So yes, let's do that. Thank you, Lona, for wanting to read. How wonderful. Today is all about artists, and let's find out what's happening. It's the second day for introduction of this book. Next week on Tuesday, we'll actually start the week one practice. Today is about concluding the introduction day. So let's start. Okay, so last time we finished in very beautiful principles. We talked about 10 principles, and I wish and I hope that you all have read them every day. Have you read them? Or have they just gone on the back burner? I had requested my catalyst to keep posting them on the groups. So did we actually read them every single day? Because it was just about telling ourselves that these principles are important in life, and they just kind of get us back on track with how they are. They're the basic principles, but it talks about creativity being at our helm and how all of us can start being creative. And thank you for unleashing your creativity, everyone. People are already starting this journey, so it's wonderful. All right, today we'll start with how to use this book for your creative recovery. So all of us, let's find it and let's understand, let's know it. At the time we were born, we were whole and complete. We were made creative. But unfortunately, with the way society brings us up, we were categorized, boxed in a chamber where somebody said, oh, you're very artistic, you're very creative. Oh, you don't know anything about creativity, especially with men. Somehow the culture says men are all about creating money, it's not about creativity. But creativity will help you get more money, will help you get more fame, will help you get your inner spirituality out, because we are meant to be creative. So Amos Rogerson says a very beautiful thing. He says, I paint not by sight, but by faith. Faith gives you sight. So how wonderful. So, just that he's going very deeper down and he's saying this thing. Brenda Olen says, what should we use our creative power for? Because there is nothing that makes people so generous, joyful, lively, bold, and compassionate, so indifferent to fighting and the accumulation of objects and money. So creative power is beautiful. You can use it wherever, however you want. So let's know one thing. We have two powers in us, which is all about creativity. With love comes creativity, and with lack of love comes destruction. Even those thoughts are man-made. How you want to harness your energy depends upon you. So people who are terrorists, even they're very creative. Without having knowledge of what they have, they won't have been able to create the bombs or plan the massacres or whatever they're doing. So get that very clear. We all are creative. How we're using our creativity depends completely on us. And now, how we'd recover with this book, let's go for it. Aluna, let's start our day.
How to use this book for your creative recovery. There are a number of ways to use this book. Most of all, I invite you to use it creatively. This section offers you a sort of roadmap through the process with some specific ideas about how to proceed. Some students have done the course solo, others have formed circles to work through the book together. In the back of the book, you'll find guidelines about doing the work in groups. No matter which way you choose, the artist way will work for you. First, you may want to glance through the book to get a sense of territory covered. Reading the book through it's not the same as using it. Each chapter includes essays, exercises, tasks, and a weekly check-in. Don't be daunted by the amount of work it seems to entail. Much of the work is really play, and the course takes little more than 1 hour a day. When I formally teaching, I suggest students set a weekly schedule. For example, if you're going to work a Sunday to Sunday week, begin by reading the chapter of week on Sunday night. After you've read the chapter, speed right through the exercises. The exercises in each week are so critical, so are the morning pages and the artist date. More about these in the next chapter. You probably won't have time to complete all of the other tasks in any given week. Try to do about half. Know that the rest are there for use when you are able to get back to them. In choosing which half of the task to do, use two guidelines. Pick those that appeal to you and those you strongly resist. Leave the more neutral ones for later. Just remember, in choosing that, we often resist what we most need. In all, make a time of commitment of about 7 to 10 hours a week, an hour a day, or slightly more if you choose. This modest commitment to using the tools can yield tremendous results within the 12 weeks of the course. The same tools used over a longer period can alter the trajectory of a lifetime. In working with this book, remember the artist way is a spiral path. You will circle through some of the issues over and over each time at a different level. There is no such thing as being done with an artist's life. Frustration and rewards exist at all levels on the path. Our aim here is to find the trail, establish a footing, and begin the climb. The creative vistas that open will quickly excite you.
So let's get this very clear that this book is beautiful. It's a 14-week course, 2 weeks of introduction, 12 weeks of the book, and it's going to conclude somehow with a one-to-one day journey. Now, how much you all want to work, you will decide. I'm no one to decide. I'm introducing the book and the concepts to you. Your Sangha, of course, will be your catalyst and boosters, will be working with you. That's yes there. But do you actually want to put an hour? Do you want to put less of it? Depends upon you. But I can tell you one thing, people will start saying, oh, I'm a businessman or I'm a businesswoman. I don't have this time. It's all about prioritizing. If you truly think that you'll elevate your trajectory and you'll go on the next level by using this book, so be it. This book is absolutely deep and it's very, very beautiful. How you take out time for it, let the course unfold. If you're meant to be, you'll do it. If not, don't judge yourself too much. Alain Arias' mission says, the purpose of art is not a rarefied intellectual distillate. It is life intensified, brilliant life. So all I can say is we all are diamonds. Now we may have lost our luster because of whatever reasons. There may be a little debris on top of us, a little dirt, a little grime, and that dulls your shine. This book will actually shine you and polish you and bring you back to your true magnificent self. So what do you expect from this book? Let's understand. All right, let's go for it.
What to expect? Many of us wish we were more creative. Many of us sense we are more creative, but unable to effectively tap that creativity. Our dreams elude us. Our lives feel somehow flat. Often we have great ideas, wonderful dreams, but are unable to actualize them for ourselves. Sometimes we have specific creative longings we would love to be able to fulfill. Learning to play piano, painting, taking an acting class, or writing. Sometimes our goal is more diffuse. We hunger for what might be called creative living, an expanded sense of creativity in our business lives, in sharing with our children, our spouse, our friend. While there is no quick fix for instant, pain free creativity, creative recovery, or discovery is a teachable, trackable spiritual process. Each of us is complex and highly individual, yet there are common recognizable denominators to the creative recovery process. Working with this process, I see a certain amount of defiance and giddiness in the first few weeks. This entry stage is followed closely by explosive anger in the course's midsection. The anger is followed by grief, then alternating waves of resistance and hope. This peaks and valleys phase of growth becomes a series of expansions and contractions, a birthing process in which students experience intense elation and defensive skepticism.
So, okay, I'll tell you, I'm a very creative person. I've been an artist all my life. As long as I remember growing up, I remember creating art. Yet, when this book starts, it's going to take you on a very, it's absolutely, you can't even, she's putting them into words, but it's not like this. So, you will be in a defensive mechanism. You will be probably defying stuff. You will probably be like, this is not meant for me. And there will coming a time when you'll start releasing, there'll be too much of anger coming out of you. Maybe you have some grief which is dawn and it's going to come up. So you're going to really go through a seesaw ride. But remember one thing, please, if you're having resistance, go for it. But there's a lot of hope in this book. Ultimately, this book is going to create you into the artist that you are. So give yourself time, give yourself permission that, and give yourself that beautiful quality that, I am open and receptive to every single thing that's coming my way. Don't chop your own growth. Let's talk about it.
This choppy growth phase is followed by a strong urge to abandon the process and return to life as we know it. In other words, a bargaining period. People are often tempted to abandon the course at this point. I call this a creative U-turn. Recommitment to the process next triggers the free fall of a major ego surrender. Following this, the final phase of course is characterized by a new sense of self-mark, by increased autonomy, resilience, expectancy, and excitement, as well as by the capacity to make and execute concrete creative plans. If this sounds like a lot of emotional tumult, it is. When we engage in creativity recovery, we enter into a withdrawal process from life as we know it. Withdrawal is another way of saying detachment or non-attachment, which is emblematic of consistent work with any meditation practice.
So very important to understand. Choppy growth, Nisha, is when you chop something, you cut off something. So your growth is going to be chopped off. So that's what is choppy growth. So what lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. In us is the entire universe. In us is everything. Whether you'll have withdrawal symptoms, whether you'll really want to go on, whether you'll be excited, whether you'll be expecting something great coming out, let your own creativity tell you where you are. It's more like a meditation. You'll really have a great time when you take it like something good is coming your way. Let's read further.
In movie terms, we slowly pull focus, lifting up and away from being embedded in our lives until we attain an overview. This overview empowers us to make a valid creative choice. Think of it as a journey with difficult, varied, and fascinating terrain. You are moving to a higher ground. The fruit of your withdrawal is what you need to understand as a positive process, both painful and exhilarating. I'll read the left hand side.
No, I've read that.
Okay. Many of us find that we have squandered our own creative energies by investing disproportionately in the lives, hopes, and dreams and plans of others. Their lives have obscured and detoured our own.
Just clean your throat. I'll read this. I think you also have you have the morning thing. So many of us find that we have squandered our own creative energies by investing disproportionately in the lives, hopes, dreams, and plans of others. Their lives have obscured and detoured our own. As we go through our withdrawal process, we become more able to articulate our own boundaries, dreams, and authentic goals. So, what's going to happen is right now, maybe we are too focused on maybe a child's growth, maybe a spouse's growth, maybe somebody else's growth, and that has kind of put a veil on our own dreams. The minute we are in this book journey, we'll be able to articulate our own boundaries, create them all. We'll be able to have dreams and authentic goals. Unfortunately, many of us don't have authentic goals. Even though we write them, they're just something that we think will look good or something that society thinks that, you and I must do it. It's not actually our own. Now, this book will make us, our personal flexibility will increase while our malleability to the whims of others decreases. So you will not be more susceptible to the other person, and what they think about us is not going to be important. What we think will be more important. We'll experience a heightened sense of autonomy and possibility. So everything is going to be amazing because you will be now in the next level of creating. You'll be creating your life, and that's most magical. Let's continue. Alona?
Ordinarily, when we speak of withdrawal, we think of having a substance removed from us. We give up alcohol, drugs, sugar, fats, caffeine, nicotine, and we suffer a withdrawal. It's useful to view creative withdrawal a little differently. We ourselves are the substance we withdraw to, not from as we pull overextended and misplaced creative energy back into our own core. We begin to excavate our buried dreams. This is a tricky process. Some of our dreams are very volatile, and the mere act of brushing them off sends an enormous surge of energy bolting through our denial system. Such grief, such loss, such pain. It is at this point in the recovery process that we make what Robert Bailey calls a descent into ashes. We mourn the self we abandoned. We greet the self as we might greet a lover at the end of a long and a costly walk. To effect a creative recovery, we must undergo a time of mourning. In dealing with the suicide of the nice self we have been making to do with, we find a certain amount of grief to be essential. Our tears prepare the ground for our future growth. Without this creative moistening, we may remain barren. We must allow the bolt of pain to strike us. Remember, this is useful pain. Lightning illuminates.
Illuminates. So very important to understand that in life, you will never value victory if you don't know the pain of loss. You will never know the magnificence of a day if you don't know about night. So you will be having some emotional breakdowns, and they are important. Like I always say, if there are no knocks and shocks in life, you will never embark on a spiritual journey. But everything is hunky-dory. Why would you want to create something which is magnificent? So until you get shaken up completely, you don't come in this adhyatmika dunya, in the world of, spirituality. So now your creative blocks which are there are going to be just, the boulders are going to be removed in this book. Yes, let's continue.
How do you know if you are creatively blocked? Jealousy is an excellent clue. Are there artists whom you resent? Do you tell yourself, if I could do that, if only? Do you tell yourself that if only you took your creative potential seriously, you might? Stop telling yourself it's too late. Stop waiting until you make enough money to do something you did really love. Stop telling yourself it's just my ego whenever you yearn for a more creative life. Stop telling yourself that dreams don't matter, that they are only dreams, and that you should be more sensible. Stop fearing that your family and friends would think you crazy. Stop telling yourself that creativity is a luxury, that you should be grateful for what you've got.
So
As
again,
you
so many stops, because these are our excuses, the alibis that we're using in life to just not progress further. So stop all of these. If you are feeling, highlight them and understand we're not supposed to go on this tangent at all. We're supposed to move in a much more further zone of maybe discomfort. Yes.
As you learn to recognize, nurture, and protect your inner artist, you will be able to move beyond pain and creative construction. You will learn ways to recognize and resolve fear, remove emotional scar tissue, and strengthen your confidence. Damaging old ideas about creativity will be explored and discarded. Working with this book, you will experience an intensive, guided encounter with your own creativity. Your private villains, champions, wishes, fears, dreams, and hopes and triumphs. The experience will make you excited, depressed, angry, afraid, joyous, hopeful, and ultimately more free.
This book is all about triumphing the cause of your being. You have to become a winner, and you will become a winner of life where everything positive is going to come unfolding and all things negatives will just leave you forever. So ultimately, this book is very deep down, and just wait and watch. Don't think too much, just be ready for it. The basic tools. Let's go for the basic tools. So you can change the page. It's very nice to change. So now we are embarking on the second part of introduction. Let's understand what are the tools, what is required from us, what is the pattern that we're supposed to follow. So now there are two pivotal tools in this creative recovery. There's something called the morning side and something called the artist state. Let's understand what are these. What are the morning pages? What are the artist state? And let's go for it. And again, I'm saying a lot of you may be judging कि क्या होने वाला है. So it's okay. Just relax. Let the journey unfold. Alona, over to you.
There are two
Pivotal.
pivotal tools in a creative recovery, the morning pages and the artist day. A lasting creative awakening requires the consistent use of both. I like to introduce them both immediately and at a sufficient length to answer most of your questions. This chapter explains these tools carefully and in depth. Please read it with special care and begin the immediate use of both the tools. The morning pages. In order to retrieve your creativity, you need to find it. I ask you to do this by an apparently pointless process I call the morning pages. You will do the pages daily through all the weeks of the course, and I hope much longer. And I have been doing them for a decade now. I have students who have worked with them nearly that long and who would no more abandon them than breathing. Ginny, a writer producer, credits the morning pages with inspiration for her recent screenplays and clarity in planning her her network specials. I'm superstitious about them by now, she says. When I was editing my last special, I would get up at 5 a.m. to get them done before I went into work. What are morning pages? Put
Yeah, let me
simply,
let me take
the
this
morning
journey.
pages.
So, what are the morning pages? Why are people so attached to the morning pages, and it becomes a lifestyle, and you're like, you must do it before you leave for your work or whatever you're creating. So, simply put, the morning pages are 3 pages of long handwriting. Remember, three is the number of creation. 3 pages of, so you can turn the page, of long handwriting, strictly stream of consciousness. What is consciousness? that I am neither the body, I'm not the soul, and I'm not the mind, not the body. I'm just the soul. Now, in my consciousness, when I know that everything is pure love and I am just writing. So, okay, some people will say, I'm not a writing person. Doesn't matter. Please don't judge yourself. Just say, oh God, another morning. I have nothing to say. I need to watch the curtains. Did I get my laundry yesterday? Blah, blah, blah. A chatter will keep happening. They might also more ingloriously be called the brain drain, since that is one of their main functions. There is no wrong way of doing the morning pages. These daily morning meanderings are not meant to be art or even writing. I stress that point to reassure the non writers working with this book. Writing is simply one of the tools. Pages are meant to be simply the act of moving the hand across the page and writing down whatever comes to mind. Nothing is too petty, too silly, too stupid, or too weird to be included. Whatever your heart says, just write it. The morning pages are not supposed to sound smart, although sometimes they might. Most times they don't. Most times they won't. And nobody will ever know except you. Nobody's allowed to read your morning pages except you. And you shouldn't even read them yourself for the first 8 weeks or so. Just write 3 pages, stick them into an envelope, or write 3 pages in a spiral notebook and don't leaf back through. Just write 3 pages and write 3 more pages the next day. So this is quite a big thing when you will read about three, but let's understand what's going to come our way. So Ingrid Bengis says, words are a form of action capable of influencing change. So they're very deep words to be said. So our words are all action oriented, or they have some deeper thoughts which will turn into actions. Now they can influence a change in your life or others people's lives. So words are very powerful. You need to claim the events of your life to make yourself yours, says Anne Wilson Shire. So ultimately, our life is ours, and no only person who can change it is me. You can't change it for the other person. She can't change for the other person. He can't change. It has to be only for you. September 30th, 1991. Over the weekend for Dominica's biology project, she and I went bug hunting on the Rio Grande and Pot Creek. We collected water crawlies and butterflies. I made a crimson homemade butterfly net that was quite functional, although dragonflies eluded us to our dismay. We did not catch the tarantula strolling down the dirt road near our house. We just enjoyed spotting it. So now I'll tell you something what's going to happen in this book. Your vocabulary will become better because a lot of you will say, okay, what are these words? And for people who are a little English shy, it's beautiful to go back to this book, maybe to the PDFs, pick up the words that you find tough and start writing them. And maybe your morning pages could be about that. I promise you by the end of this course, your English will become better. And as Mudita and everyone says, you start writing fluently in English. So this book will bring the artist in you. Get ready for a ride, which is beautiful, and you'll evolve as a person. So you'll all become writers, that's for sure. And that's an intention of mine from day one. That's why I keep talking about the Facebook page. Facebook page will become more active another 15 days later. So just remember that we are creating our lives and we are the artists. We have colorful life ahead, and the morning pages are often negative, frequently fragmented, often self-pitying, repetitive, stilted, or babyish, angry or bland, even silly sounding. Good. It's fine. If they sound like that, it's fine. 3 page kya bharenge hum? Okay, yeah, it's too much. All right, let's write whatever. Write whatever you want. Now another page of a diary. October 2, 1991. I am up and have had a headache and I've taken aspirin and feel a little better, although still shaky. I may have that flu after all. I'm getting to the bottom of a lot of unpacking and still no teapot from Laura, whom I'm sorely missing. What a heartbreak. So just get these. What are people writing? Something similar, akin, whatever you want, something absolutely different. You can write whatever. All that angry, whiny, petty stuff that you write down in the morning stands between you and your creativity. Worrying about the job, the laundry, the funny knock in the car, the weird look in your lover's eye, the stuff it eyes. Through all our subconscious and muddies our days, get it on the page. So whatever is in in your mind, just release it like a brain drain, complete out. कुछ भी दिमाग में है कुछ भी any nonsensical thing, any creative thing, just bring it down. The morning pages are the primary tool of creative recovery. As blocked artists, We tend to criticize ourselves mercilessly. Even if we look like functioning artists of the world, we feel we never do enough and what we do isn't right. We are victims of our own internalized perfectionist, a nasty internal and eternal critic, the censor who resides in our left brain and keeps us a constant stream of subversive remarks that are often disguised as a truth. क्या मतलब हो रहा है इसका? हमारा ब्रेन हमें इतना वी आर सो यूज्ड टू क्रिटिसाइजिंग आवरसेल्व्स, अपने आप को क्रिटिसाइज करना, रिडिक्यूल करना, अपने आप को बेलिटल करना, ब्लेम गेम करना. वी आर ऑल विक्टिम्स ऑफ दिस बिकॉज वी वांट टू बी परफेक्ट. सो एनीथिंग व्हिच इज सिली इज सिली एंड वी दैट्स व्हाट वी कीप डूइंग. हम अपने खुद के थॉट्स को सेंसर करते हैं. वी आर क्रिटिसाइजिंग एवरीथिंग. Now this will soon get out of our life very fast. The censor says, Ritesh sir, please can you activate the message to all? Direct messages are very, thing for me. So please just activate for all. So other people can also reply if the question is worthwhile. The censor says wonderful things like, you call that writing. What a joke. You can't even punctuate. If you haven't done it by now, you never will. You can't even spell what makes you think you can be creative, and so on. So this is not about perfect adjectives. It's not about perfect punctuation. It's just about writing. Even if it's crap shit, just writing. Make this a rule. Always remember that your censor's negative opinions are not the truth. This takes practice. By spilling out of the bed and straight into the page every morning, you learn to evade the censor because there is no way to write the morning pages. The censor's opinion doesn't count. Let your censor rattle on, and it will. Just keep your hand moving across the page. Write down the censor's thoughts if you want it. Note how it loves to aim for your creative jugular. Make no mistakes, the censor is out to get you. It's a cunning foe. Every time you get smarter, so does it. So you wrote one good play, the censor tells you that all there is. So you drew your first sketch, the censor says it's not Picasso. So are you a victim of your own mind where everything that you do is asked by somebody and somebody says, oh, this is not good enough. Ye acha nahi, ye acha nahi. That chatter in your mind hota rehta hai kya? This book will finish all of that. How? You're going to release yourself. Think of your censor as a cartoon serpent slithering around your creative Eden, hissing wild things to keep you off guard. If a serpent doesn't appeal to you, you might want to find a good cartoon image of your censor. Maybe the shark from Jaws, and put an X through it. Post it where you tend to write or on the inside cover of your notebook. Just making the censor into the nasty, clever little character, and it begins to lose some of its power over you and your creativity. So very important to understand that a lot is coming our way. Just read through it, absorb it. Jitna samajh mein aaye, great. Jinko nahi samajh mein aa raha bahut zyada, even that's fine. Just go with it. Alona, you want to take over the next page? Search in the page, please. Page number 14.
Yeah. More than one student has tacked up unflattering picture of the parent responsible for sensors installation in his or her site and call that his or her sensor. The point is to stop talking the sensor as a voice of reason and learn to hear it for the blocking device that it is. Morning pages will help you to do this. Morning pages are non-negotiable. Never skip or skimp on morning pages. Your mood doesn't matter. The rotten thing your censor says doesn't matter. We have this idea that we need to be in the mood to write. We don't. Morning pages will teach you that your mood doesn't really matter. Some of the best creative work gets done on the days when you feel that everything you are doing is just plain junk. The morning pages will teach you to stop judging and just let yourself write. So what if you are tired, crabby, distracted, stressed? Your artist is a child and it needs to be fed. Morning pages feed your artist child. So write your morning pages. 3 pages of whatever crosses your mind. That's all. There is to it. If you can't think of anything to write, then write. I can't think of anything to write. Do this until you filled 3 pages. Do anything until you have filled 3 pages. When people ask, why do we write morning pages? I joke, to get to the other side. They think I'm kidding, but I'm not. Morning pages do get us to the other side of our fear, of our negativity, of our moods. Above all, they get us beyond our censor. Beyond the reach of the sensor's babble, we find our own quiet center, the place where we hear the still, small voice that is at once our creators and our own. A word is in order here about logic brain and artist brain. Logic brain is our brain of choice in Western Hemisphere. It is categorical brain. It thinks in a neat linear fashion. As a rule, logic brain perceives the world according to no categories. A horse is a certain combination of animal parts that make up a horse. A fall forest is viewed as a series of colors that add up to a fall forest. It looks at a fall forest and notes red, orange, yellow, green, and gold. Logic brain was and is our survival brain. It works on known principles. Anything known is perceived as wrong and possibly dangerous.
Anything unknown. Yes.
Anything unknown is perceived as wrong and possibly dangerous. Logic brain likes things to be near little soldiers marching in a straight line. Logic brain is the brain we usually listen to, especially when we are telling ourselves to be sensible. Logic brain is our censor, our second and third and fourth thoughts. Faced with an original sentence, phrase, paint squiggle, it says, "What the hell is that? That's not right." Artist brain is our inventor, our child, our very own personal absent-minded professor. Artist, artist brain says, "Hey, that is so neat. It puts odd things together. Both equals wave and walker. It likes calling a speed GTO a wild animal. The black howling wolf pull into the drive-in."
So okay, let's get this straight. Artist's brain is a subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is all about love. It's all about giving. It's all about magnificent things. And that's what the artist brain is all about. Whereas the logic brain is equanimous with your subconscious mind. That's all the time analytical, critical. It's going to tell you to stop. It's going to be just judging. That's what the job is. So now I'll take over again for 5 minutes, Aruna. Artist brain is a creative, holistic brain. It thinks in patterns and shadings. It sees a fall forest and thinks, wow, leaf bouquet, pretty, gold gilt shimmery earthskin king's carpet. Wow. Artist's brain is associative and freewheeling. It makes new connections, yoking together images to invoke meaning, like the Norse myths calling a boat wave horse. In Star Wars, the name Skywalker is a lovely artist's brain flash. Why all this logic brain, artist brain talk? Because the morning pages teach logic brain to stand aside and let artist brain play. The sensor is part of a leftover survival brain. It was a part in changing of deciding whether it was safe for us to leave the forest and go out into the meadows. A sensor scans a creative meadow for another dangerous beasties. Any original thought can look pretty dangerous to our sensor. The only sentences, paintings, sculptures, photographs it likes are ones that it has seen many, many times before. Safe sentences, safe paintings, not exploratory blurts, squiggles, or jottings. Listen to your own sensor, and it will tell you that everything original is wrong, dangerous, rotten. Who won't be blocked if every time you tiptoed into the open, somebody your sensor made fun of? The morning pages will teach you to stop listening to that ridicule. They will allow you to detach from your negative sensor. It may be useful for you to think of the morning pages as meditation. It may not be a practice of meditation you're accustomed to. You may, in fact, not be accustomed to meditating at all. The pages may not seem spiritual or even meditative, more like negative and materialistic, actually. So we have turned the page. I've read the next paragraph also, but the book hasn't turned. So it's a valid form of meditation that gives us deep insight and helps us effect changes in our lives. So Aaron Copland says, inspiration may be a form of superconsciousness. or perhaps of subconsciousness. I won't know, but I'm sure it is the antithesis of self consciousness. So, we are conscious is something a lot of us are now getting aware. We have a super consciousness where everything is happening beautifully. We are in tandem with Mother Nature, and whatever is going to unfold will be beautiful. Just be sure that you're not into some journey which is going to be stopping you. It's only going to take you up. Let's take a look at what we stand to gain by meditating. So, of course, all of us are meditating, and this entire paragraph 2, 3 will be about meditation, but let's understand the science. So, let's look at what we stand by gaining by meditating. There are many ways of thinking about meditation. Scientists speak of in terms of brain hemispheres and shunting techniques. We move from logic brain to artist brain and from fast to slow, shallow to deep. Management consultants in pursuit of corporate physical health have learned to think of meditation primarily as a stress management technique. Spiritual seekers choose to view the process as a gateway to God. Artists and creative mavens approve of it as a conduit for higher creative insights. So when you're meditating in this world of artistry, you are going to be conduits and a lot of creative insights are going to come your way. And these creative insights will be in all parts of your lives, not just your personal, but even your professional, even your spiritual. All parts will be covered. All of these notions are true as far as they go. They do not go far enough. Yes, we will alter our brain hemisphere, lower our stress, discover an inner contact with creative source, and have many creative insights. Yes, for any one of these reasons, the pursuit is a worthy one, even taken in combination. However, there still intellectual constructs what is primarily an experience of fullness, rightness, and power. We meditate to discover our own identity, our right place in the scheme of the universe. Through meditation, we acquire and eventually acknowledge a connection to an inner power, source that has the ability to transform our outer world. In other words, meditation gives us not only the light of insight, but also the power for expansive changes. Insight in and of itself is an intellectual comfort. Power in and of itself is a blind force that can destroy as easily as build. It is only when we consciously learn to link power and light that we begin to feel our rightful identities as creative beings. So please underline this particular line, it's very important. The morning pages allow us to forge this link. They provide us with a spiritual ham radio set to contact the creator within. For this reason, the morning pages are a spiritual practice. It is impossible to write morning pages for any extended period of time without coming into contact with an unexpected inner power. Although I used them for many years before I realized this, the pages are a pathway to a strong and clear sense of self. They are a trail that we follow into our own creator, into our own interior, where we meet both our creativity and our creator. Morning pages map our own interior. Without them, our dreams may remain incognita. I know mine did. Using them, the light of insight is coupled with the power of expansive changes. It is very difficult to complain about a morning situation after morning, month after month, without being moved to constructive action. The pages lead us out of despair and into undreamed of solutions. So now a lot is coming our way. A lot is going to get unleashed. May say Sarton says it always comes back to the same necessity. Go deep enough, and there is a bedrock of truth, however hard. So when you go inward, a lot is going to come unfolding. So get this very, very clear. The first time I did morning pages, I was living in Taos, New Mexico. I had gone there to sort myself out into what I don't know. For the third time in a row, I hadn't had a film scuttled due to studio politics. Such disasters are routines to screenwriters, but to me they felt like miscarriages. Cumulatively, they were disastrous. I wanted to give the movies up. Movies had broken my heart. I didn't want any more brain children to meet untimely deaths. I'd gone to New Mexico to mend my heart and see what else, if anything, I might want to do. Living in a small adobe house that looked north to Towers Mountain, I began a practice of writing morning pages. Nobody told me to do them. I had never heard of anybody doing them. I just got the insistent inner sense that I should do them, and I did. I sat on a wooden table looking north to Taos Mountain and I wrote. The morning pages were my pastime, something to do instead of staring at the mountain all the time. The mountain, a humped back marvel different in every weather, raised more questions than I did. Wrapped in clouds one day, dark and wet the next. The mountains dominated my view and my morning pages as well. What did it, or anything, mean? I asked page after page, morning after morning, no answer. Then one wet morning, a character named Johnny came strolling into my pages. Without planning to, I was writing a novel. The morning pages had shown me a way. Anyone who faithfully writes morning pages will be led to a connection with the source of wisdom within. When I am stuck with a painful situation or problem that I don't think I know how to handle, I will go to the pages and ask for guidance. To do this, I write LJ as a shorthand for me, little Julie, and then I ask my question. LJ, what should I tell them about this inner wisdom? Then I listen to the reply and write that down too. Answer. You should tell them everyone has a direct dial to God. No one needs to go through an operator. Tell them to try the technique with a problem of their own. They will. Sometimes, as above, the answer may seem flippant or too simple. I have come to believe that seems is an operative word. Very often, when I act on a device I have been given, it is exactly right, far more right than something more complicated words could have been. And so, for the record, I want to say pages are my way of meditating. I do them because they work. So Robbie Gass says, like an ability or a muscle, hearing your inner wisdom is strengthened by doing it. Simon de Beauvoir says, it is a knowledge of the genuine conditions of our lives that we must draw our strength to live and our reasons for living. So it's very important for all of us to understand that, when this book is going to unfold, we'll go deeper inside. And a lot of you say, what is higher self? We haven't understood that yet. Doesn't matter. When you start meditating and by writing on this book, your questions will start coming, the answers will start coming, and you'll be in a journey of 2 months where you will just write, and there's no need for you to go back and read them. Let whatever has come, it's like you're unleashing your negativity or your blocked energy. That's about it. So LJ asked a question, what should I tell them about this inner wisdom? Then I listen to the reply and write that down. Answer. You should tell them everyone has a direct dial to God. No one needs to go through an operator. Tell them to try this technique with a problem of their own. They will. Sometimes, as above, the answer may seem flippant or too simple. I have come to believe that seem is the operative word. Very often, when I act on the advice I have been given, it is exactly right, far more right than something more complicated would have been. And so, for the record, I want to say pages are my way of meditating. I do them because they work. A final assurance the morning pages will work for painters, sculptors, poets, actors, lawyers, housewives, for anyone who wants to try anything creative. Don't think they're tools for writers only. Hui. These pages are not intended for writers only. Lawyers who use them swear they make them more effective in court. Dancers claim their balance improves and not just emotionally. If anything, writers who have a regrettable desire to write morning pages instead of just do them, they may have the hardest time seeing their impact. What they're likely to see is that the other writing seems to suddenly be far more free and expansive, and somehow easy to do. In short, no matter what your reservation or your occupation, morning pages will function for you. So they're talking about Timothy, an example for him. I'm going to miss that example. So Timothy had a writer's block, and he was just. If you want, you could. How do you want to go about this? Because we do have a couple of pages. Should we conclude this the next day, or should we read bit by bit, or should we just go on to the main thing? There are a few examples in the next pages. I think we can skip. People who want to read it maybe can do it as homework on their own. Let me go on to the page number 17, the last paragraph. Second last. While you may undertake this course, no, sir, I'm right there. I haven't changed the page. While you may undertake the course with an agenda as to what you have unblocked, the tools may free creative areas you have long ignored or even been blind to. Using the pages to unblock a creative writer in Borg moved from being one of Germany's top musical critics to composing for the first time in 20 years. She was stunned and made several ecstatic transatlantic calls to make her new good news. Often, the students most resistant to morning pages come to love them the most. In fact, hitting the morning pages is a very good sign. Loving them is a good sign too. If you keep writing when you suddenly don't, a neutral attitude is the third position, but it's really just a defensive strategy that may mask boredom. Now you may change the page. So, what are we doing? Boredom, is it? What's the use? What's the use? Is fear, and fear means you're secretly in despair. So, put your fears on the page. Put anything on the page. Just put 3 pages of it on the page. The most potent muse of all is our inner child. Stephen says that, and even your inner child will be brought out. At the height of laughter, the universe is flung into a kaleidoscope of new possibilities, says Jean Houston. So, a lot of new possibilities will come up. And let's talk about the artist date. Now, there's second part to it. We read about the first part. I would take permission from all of you for me to continue the artist date and not go on meditation, if that's okay. If that's okay, or you want meditation, please let me know. I'm starting my journey. You let me know what you want to do in the chat box. I'll take a decision after that. So now, first part was the morning pages. Second part is the artist's date. The other basic tool of the artist's way may strike you as a non-tool, a diversion. You may see clearly how morning pages could work, yet find yourself highly dubious about something called an artist date. I assure you, artist date works too. Think of this combination of tools in terms of a radio receiver and a transmitter. It is a two-step, two-directional process, out and then in. Doing your morning pages, you're sending, notifying yourself and the universe of your dreams, satisfactions, hopes. Doing your artist date, you're receiving, opening yourself to insight, inspiration, and guidance. But what exactly is an artist date? An artist date is a block of time, perhaps 2 hours weekly, specially set aside and committed to nurturing your creative consciousness, your inner artist. In its most primary form, the artist date is an excursion, a play date that you can pre plan and defend against all interlopers. You do not take anyone on this artist date, but you and your inner child, inner artist, aka your creative child. This means no lovers, friends, spouses, children, no taggers on of any stripe. If you think this sounds stupid or that you will never be able to afford the time, identify that reaction as resistance. You cannot afford not to find time for artist date. Do you spend quality time with each other? Troubled couples are often asked by the therapists. Parents of disturbed children are often asked the same question. Well, what do you mean? Quality time? Oh, we spend a lot of quality time together. Yes, but is it quality time? Do you ever have any fun together? The therapist may press. Fun. Whoever heard of having fun is a rotten relationship like this one? Do you go on dates just to talk, just to listen to each other? Dates? But we are married. Too busy, too broke, too scared. The therapist may interrupt. Hey, don't suggest, sugarcoat it. It is frightening to spend quality time with a child or lover or an artist, and it can be seen. And our artist can be seen as both to us. A weekly artist date is remarkably threatening and remarkably productive. A date with my artist? Yes. Your artist needs to be taken out, pampered, and listened to. There are as many ways to evade this commitment as there are days of your life. I'm too broke is a favored one, although no one said the date will involve elaborate expenses. Your artist is a child. Time with the parent matters more than money spent. A visit to a great junk store, a solo trip to the beach, an old movie seen together alone, a visit to an aquarium or an art gallery. These cost time, not money. Remember, it is a time commitment that is secret. In looking for a parallel, think of a child of divorce who gets to see a beloved parent only on weekends. During most of the week, your artist is in custody of a stern workday adult. With that child wants his attention, not expensive outings. What that child does not want is to share the precious parent with someone like the new significant other. Spending time in solitude with your artist child is essential to self nurturing. A long country walk, a solitary expedition to the beach for a sunrise or sunset, a sortie out to a strange church to hear gospel music, to an ethnic neighborhood to taste foreign sights and sounds. Your artist might enjoy any of these, or your artist might like bowling. Commit yourself to a weekly artist date and then watch your killjoy side try to wriggle out of it. Watch how this sacred times get really encroached upon. Watch how the sacred time suddenly includes a third party. Learn to guard against these invasions. Above all, learn to listen to what your artist child has to say on and about these joint expeditions. For example, oh, I hate the serious stuff. Your artist may exclaim if you persist in taking it only to grown up places that are culturally edifying and good for it. Listen to that. It's telling you your art needs more playful inflow. A little fun can go a long way towards making your work feel more like play. We forget that the imagination at play is at the heart of all good work. And increasing our capacity for good creative work is what this book is about. You're likely to find yourself avoiding your first artist date, recognize resistance as a fear of intimacy, self intimacy, often in troubled relationships. We settle into an avoidance pattern with our significant others. We don't want to hear what they are thinking because it might hurt. So avoid them completely, knowing that once they get the chance, our significant others will probably blurt out something we do not want to hear. Is it possible they will want an answer we do not have and can't give them? It is equally possible we might do the same to them, and that the two of them will stare at each other in astonishment, saying, "But I never know you felt like that." It is probable that these self disclosures, frightening through though they are, will lead to a building of a real relationship, one in which the participants are free to be who they are and become what they wish. This possibility is what makes the risk of self disclosure and true intimacy profitable. In order to have a real relationship with our creativity, we must take the time and care to cultivate it. Our creativity will use this time to confront us, confide in us, bond with us, and to plan. The morning pages acquaint us with what we think and what we think we need. We identify problem areas and concerns. We complain, enumerate, identify, isolate, fret. This is step one, analogous to prayer. In the course of the release engendered by our artist date, step two, we begin to hear solutions. Perhaps equally important, we begin to fund the creative reserves we will draw on fulfilling our artistry. So every child is an artist, says Pablo Picasso. The problem is how to remain an artist once he grows up. And somehow down the line, when you and I grow up, we forget that we are artists, right? Now, Fritjof Capra, who was a physicist, says during these periods of relaxation, after concentrated intellectual activity, the intuitive mind seems to take over and can produce a sudden clarifying insights which give us so much joy and delight. So a lot of you will be thinking कि बहुत कुछ आ रहा है, morning में already बहुत कुछ कर रहे हैं, ये morning pages नया क्या आ गया, कैसे करेंगे? It's okay. If you had those thoughts, good. You're resisting to it because you're not ready to know कि अंदर से क्या निकलने वाला है. It's absolutely all right. Now let's move on to this beautiful section. It is very beautiful to read this section because it's simple but it's nice. Filling the well, stocking the pond. Art is an image using system. In order to create, we draw from an inner well. This inner well, an artist reservoir, is ideally like a well stocked trout pond. We've got big fishes, little fishes, fat fish, skinny fish, an abundance of artistic fish to fry. As artists, we must realize that we have to maintain this artistic ecosystem. If we don't give some attention to upkeep, our well is apt to become depleted, stagnant, or blocked. Any extended period of a piece of work draws heavily on our artistic well. Overtapping the well, like overfishing the pond, leaves us with diminished resources. We fish in vain for the image that we require. Our work dries up, and we wonder why. Just when it was going so well. The truth is that the work can dry up because it is going so well. As artists, we must learn to be self nourishing. We must become alert enough to consciously replenish our creative resources as we draw on them. To restock, to restock the trout pond, to speak, I call this process filling the well. Filling the well involves the active pursuit of images to refresh our artistic reservoirs. Art is born in attention. Its midwife is detail. Art may seem to spring from pain, but perhaps that is because pain serves to focus our attention onto details. For instance, the excruciatingly beautiful curve of a lost lover's neck. Art may seem to involve broad strokes, grand schemes, great plans, but it is attention to details that stays with us. The singular image is what haunts us and becomes art. Even in the midst of pain, this singular image brings delight. The artist who tells you different is lying. In order to function in the language of art, we must learn to live in it comfortably. The language of art is image, symbol. It is a wordless language, even when our very art is to chase it with words. The artist's language is a sensual one, a language of felt experience. When we work at art, we dip into the well of our experience and scoop out images. Because we do this, we need to learn how to put images back. How do we fill the well? We've created images. Art is an artist brain pursuit. The artist brain is our image brain, home and haven to our best creative impulses. The artist brain cannot be reached or triggered effectively by words alone. The artist's brain is a sensory brain, sight and sound, smell and taste, touch. These are the elements of magic, and magic is the elemental stuff of art. So again, magic and logic doesn't go together. कितनी बार हमने सुना है, people who are logical, their life can never be magical. In this world of artistry, we are going to be thinking magic and believing in magic. So, and a lot of magic will come unfolding from our subconscious mind, the artist brain. So let's continue. In filling the well, think magic, think delight, think fun. Do not think duty. Do not do what you should do. Spiritual sit-ups like reading a dull but recommended critical text. Do what intrigues you. A mystery draws us in, leads us, lures us. A duty may numb us all, turn us off, tune us out. In filling the well, follow your senses of the mysterious, not your sense of what you should know more. A mystery can be very simple. If I drive this road, not my usual road, what will I see? Changing a known route throws us into the now. We become refocused on the visible virtual world. Sight leads to insight. This is so beautiful. Sight leads to insight. This insight is beautiful. We have all of it inside us. And now this insight will keep coming as a predominant factor in all of our lives. So Georgia O'Keeffe says, nobody sees a flower really. It is so small, it takes time. We haven't time. And to see takes time, like to have a friend takes time. How beautiful. Brenda Ulan says, so you see, imaginations need mooding, long, inefficient, happy idling, dawdling, and puttering. A mystery can be simpler even than that. If I light this stick of incense, what will I feel? Scent is an often overlooked pathway to powerful associations and healing. The scent of Christmas at any time of year, or the scent of fresh bread or homemade soup can nourish the hungry artist within. Some sounds lull us, others stimulate us. 10 minutes of listening to a great piece of music can be a very effective meditation. 5 minutes of barefoot dancing to drum music can send an artist into play, frayed day, refreshed. Filling the well needn't be all novelty. Cooking can fill the well. When we chop the bare vegetables, we do so with our thoughts as well. Remember, art is an artist's brain pursuit. This brain is reached through rhythm, not reason. Scraping a carrot, peeling an apple, these actions are quite literally food for thought. Any regular repetitive action primes the well. Writers have heard many woeful tales of the Bronte sisters, and poor Jane Austen, forced to hide their stories under their needlework. A little experiment with some mending can cast a whole new light on these activities. Needlework, by definition, regular and repetitive, both soothes and stimulates the artist within. Whole pots can be stitched up while we sew. As artists, we can very literally reap what we sow. Reap what we sow. Get that clear. So not sow. What do I get my best ideas in the shower? Why do I get best ideas in the shower? An exasperated Einstein is said to have remarked. Brain research now tells us that is because showering is an artist brain activity. Showering, swimming, scrubbing, shaving, steering a car, so many like yes words. All of these are regular, repetitive activities that may tip us over a logic brain into a more creative artist brain. Solutions, sticky situations, creative problems may bubble up through the dishwasher. Image on the freeway just as we're executing a tricky merge. Learn which of these words best work for you and use it. Many artists have found it useful to keep a notepad or tape recorder next to them as they drive. Spielberg claims that his very best ideas have come to him as he was driving on the freeways. This is no accident. Negotiating the flow of traffic, he was an artist immersed in an oncoming, ever altering flow of images. Images trigger the artist's brain. Images fill the well. Our focused attention is critical to filling the well. We need to encounter our life experiences, not ignore them. Many of us read compulsively to screen our awareness. On a crowded, interesting train, we train our attention on a newspaper, losing sights and sounds around us, all images for the well. The true mastery of the world is in the visible, not the invisible. It is Oscar Wilde. So, well, it's a contract which, our author, Julia wants us to write this, contract. I'm not sure how many of you are waiting to write it, but it says so I use my name right now. I, Prachi Agrawal, understand that I am undertaking an intensive, guided encounter with my own creativity. I commit myself to the 12-week duration of the course. I, Prachi, commit to weekly reading, daily morning pages, a weekly artist date, and the fulfillment of each week's task. I, Prachi, further understand that this course will raise issues and emotions for me to deal with. I, Prachi, commit myself to excellent self care, adequate sleep, diet, exercise, and pampering for the duration of the course, signed by me, dated by me. So, how many of you are ready to sign the contract? This is, I mean, a lot of you found this very philosophical, very poetic, very deeper, and some people it was overhead transmission. But believe me, it's soulful. It's so beautiful. It's so profound. It's so wonderful. So thank you for so many yeses. Thank you. Thank you. I know a lot is coming our way, and it may not be good, but it'll be good for us ultimately. Let's turn the page, sir. The last page for the day. Artist block is a very literal expression. Blocks must be acknowledged and dislodged. Filling the well is the sun's surest way to do this. Art is imagination at play in the field of time. Let yourself play. I'm going to repeat. Art is the imagination at play in the field of time. Isn't that so deep and beautiful? Let yourself play. So Jalal Uddin Rumi says, inside you, there's an artist you don't know about. Say yes quickly if you know, if you've known it from the beginning of the universe. Now, the creativity contract. When I am teaching the artist's way, I require students to make a contract with themselves, committing the work of the course. Can you give yourself that gift? Say yes by means of some small ceremony. Buy a nice notebook for your pages. Hire your babysitter ahead of time for the weekly artist date. Read the contract on the preceding page. Amend it if you'd like it. Sign it, date it. Come back to it when you need encouragement to go on. So, I've got this book for you. Have you all received it? Or you may not have received it. A lot of you will be receiving. I don't know how many of you can see it. So, very simply, this book is, you can just, it's a complete blank book because you're the artist of your life. So, there are no lines, nothing. You don't restrict yourself into this or that. Whatever is your page is what you want it to be. You will create your life. In this book, this very first page, of course, this is about who the journal belongs to. The very first page after, please make this contract. If you haven't received the book, you still have a week to go for it, but I would prefer that you receive the book today, latest. It's been air courier to the entire batch, the entire Sangha. Create this contract and just fill it with your thing that, this is how it's going to be. So please, please, please fill the contract and let's go for it. So Ritesh, so we can have a gathering mode. I like to see everyone. So I don't know why it's not come because on Friday evening, I think they were air couriered. And I'm surprised Bangalore received first, which received after 2 weeks and the first lot received first now. So I think that's how they're starting. First gets the last. So let's see. Hopefully today you should get them all. And if you haven't received, you definitely will. So today we have to do nothing for this week, nothing at all. But we'll start exercise next Tuesday. This week, this book is only for you to write the contract, knowing that you are committed to this 12-week program. It starts next Tuesday. Any questions? And a lot of you, I know English बहुत ज़्यादा थी, बहुत poetic flow था. शायद कई बार you were lost in your own world, and that's okay. Don't judge yourselves. It's fine because it was too much for many people. For the ones who love poetry, I think it must have been a cakewalk. For the ones who don't care for reading, it must have been too much. Radhika, of course, you love the book. You're such a poet yourself. So, any questions about it? Okay, so let's quickly do a 5 minutes of meditation to center, align, balance ourselves. Back straight. Feet firmly placed on the ground below. Hands in a comfortable resting position. We'll read that later, yes. Let's go deeper within. Inhale love. Feel the love pulsating in your body. Release love for life. You're loving your life. You're loving everything around you. The more you give, the more you get. Inhale light. Is brightening the world inside you. And as you exhale, it's brightening the world outside you. Inhale, release, releasing of all blockages as you are open and receptive. Exhale it. I am new. I am love. I am light. I grow daily. I celebrate life. I create my life. I flow with my words. and I am excited with whatever I'm creating. I no longer judge. I'm in an upward trajectory of life where words just seem to flow, where emotions seem to flow, where my hands seems to move on its own, where I create whatever I desire. I address the brain drain and release myself completely on papers, knowing it could be absolute gibberish without any sense to anyone. Life is wonderful as I create it, going deeper within, in a world where there's absolute harmony, harmony within and harmony outside. Let's just fold our hands in gratitude to all the realms of all the beings that we can't see, the highest to the lowest. Let us be guided by the rishis, the maharishis, the angels, the guardians, as we embark on this inward journey. Let there be light. And so it is. Let's bow down in gratitude with the hands folded towards Mother Earth. Dear Mother Earth, we're looking forward to growing within, knowing that you have us rooted, grounded, and we are going to be an image of you, creating all the virtues that you are famous for. And so it is. Let's look at a life level, eyes closed. Dearest, wonderful life, you have been magical. And today I know you're even more magnificent than ever before. And we're looking forward to creating a wonderful life, knowing you have my back. So I love you, dear life. And I can't wait to grow as a person, finding myself inwards. And so it is. Let's open our hands to the universe above, heavens above. Let's feel the blessings coming on our palms in our body. Feel the divine energy flushing down your body. Feel it. You're a mass of energy being blessed from heavens above. Dear divinities, thank you for blessing us with your choicest blessings. Dear angels, you always keep us in the magic. Dear guardians, thank you for protecting us all the time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's expand our angel hearts. We are love, we are light, and we shine bright by sharing our inner light. We are growing a new leaf, and so it is. All of us are open and receptive to this wonderful life of ours, where there's abundance, there's prosperity, there's love, and there's immense goodness, and so it is. Thank you, universes, for showering us with all of it. Let's close our hands, fold our hands, energize them. Let's bless our conscious, subconscious. Always remember, never cover your crown chakra. It's in the center of your head. Let the energy always keep flowing, never block it. Bless your face, your ears, your necks, your food pipe, your shoulders, arms upper to lower to your hands, your upper back, middle back, your spinal cord, lower back, hips, your chest, your lungs, your wonderful heart that beats for you and the world. Your gut system includes your stomach, your liver, intestines, gallbladder, kidneys, your uterus, sexual organs, excretory organs, thighs, knees, calves, ankles, soles of our feet, toe fingernails, and let's come back up gently. Dearest magical body, a big thank you to the trillions of cells that are in me, the 100,000 kilometers of blood circulation system, muscles, tissues, glands, my bones, and my skin. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please keep releasing all the negativity as and when it comes. It could be in the form of thoughts, as diseases, as maybe additional weight. None of us require it anymore. because we are going upwards, heavenwards, by going inwards. And so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And allow me and my palms to get all the energy and all the blessings for sharing with my Sangha, their loved ones, and living beings on Mother Earth. And so it is. Let's shine our light, let's share our light. Love, light, and blessings for you, Mehek, Sanya, Hina, Ajay Nanju, Archana, Prachi, Richika, Gyanji, Ushaji, Veena, Yashvi, Neha, Nitin, Rigwe Naveen, Sangeeta, Shivangi, Poonam, Rima, Neha, Shelly, Anika, Shilpa, Neelam, Sailesh, Shubhra, Meenakshi, Mudita, Niriksha, Bhadbhai, Aditi, Seema, Kripa, Monica, Rashi, Amit, Alifia, Nisha, Radniji, Parul, Siddharth Vandana, Mitu and Bhuvan, Asmitji, Badri, Sakshi, Radhika, Sapna, Shami and Ankur, Akshay and Ankita, Shalu, Richa Jhuria, Sakshi Mathur, Kavita, Reena, Pratima Ji, Kuldeep Ji, Disha Judiani, Ashish, Pooja, Sunita, Parul, Ankur, Yuvi, Nitika, Karishma, Rohini, Shweta, Shruti, Gariman Gaurav, Richa, Prashant, Radhika, Rashi, Shivani, Mom, and Born 121 for Life, Priya Mittal, Jitendra ji, and everyone whose cameras are off. Radhika too, Shweta too. So thank you Ritesh sir, thank you everyone. So I have a couple of announcements to make. I'm extremely, extremely, extremely happy that Radni ji is tying the knot on the 20th, the marital knot, and she's found her lovely soulmate, her partner, and the daughters are very much in the favor of the marriage. And yes, she's finally becoming one with the guy she's meant to be. So Radni, congratulations on behalf of the entire Sangha. We've seen your journey, and we are so happy for your healing and that you progressed on this beautiful new journey. So wishing you the very, very, very best. And Ritesh sir is also tying the knot this month. So today is his last day. And I think from 16th, he's not going to be here because he's got a titika and tilak and everything. The marriage was scheduled in May. Now it's happening now. So fantastic. Two beautiful marriages coming up of our Sangha, one of our teacher and one of our Sangha Mitra. So thank you for sharing your love and light, Ritesh sir and Radniji. Radniji, we are with you and we can't wait for the excitement to unfold. You weren't taking up this second journey thinking that, marriage is around the corner, but you still took it. And I know you're going to blossom out much more because you have all the love. So thank you for that. Thank you for sharing your light. Anybody has any questions? Okay, we have heart thought. My husband's been prodding me. So yes, Ritesh sir, can we have the heart thought? It's good to have somebody right behind me on his own laptop telling me heart thought, heart thought. All right. How wonderful. So congratulations, everyone. It's time to celebrate. Of course, the artistry is going to keep flowing out. So it's going to be amazing. And I can have a reader for the day, please. Thank you, my dears. Yes. Deserving. I deserve good in my life. Isn't that beautiful? All of us deserve the very best. And this is the heart thought for the day. Some of the things we believe were never true. They were someone else's fears. Give yourself a chance to examine your thoughts. Change those that are negative. You are worth it. Let's go for it. Please read.
I deserve good in my life. Sometimes, when our inner messages are telling us that we are not allowed to be happy, or when we create good things in our lives and haven't changed those early messages, we will do something to thwart our happiness. When we don't believe that we deserve good, we will knock the pinnings out from under us. Sometimes we hurt ourselves or have physical problems like falling or have accidents. We have to start believing that we deserve all the good life has to offer.
How wonderful. You deserve all the good that life has to offer. Just believe in it and let your life become magical. So I'm going to be Kasoli bound today. I'm going with my family, my grandparents, my parents, and my daughters. So I'll be there for the next 10 days. So yes, I'll be taking my sessions from there, from the hills, and I'm looking forward to being with all of you. So yes, a couple of phone calls are pending. Today, please just email me and we'll schedule the calls because I'll be on the go. We can communicate. So yes, lots of love to everyone. Have a fun time. Have a wonderful life. And next week we'll embark on this journey of artistry. Of course, the other things meanwhile are going to be wonderful. So lots of love, light, and abundance to each one of you. Thank you. Stay happy. Stay blessed. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.